Cybersecurity is a complex and constantly adapting field, which makes the learning process difficult, expensive, and time consuming, especially for beginners out there. That's why, after loads of questions from you guys, I've made this video to show you the top courses you can do for free to help you get into cybersecurity just like I did. I'll be showing you free content from 7 different providers, which you can see on the screen, and all the links for them will be in the description below. These were all free at the time I recorded this video, so if anything's changed, then you clearly should have watched my video faster.
I don't like where this is going.
So without any more waffling, let's get straight into the video. Here we have a great introduction to cybersecurity by Cisco. You can see here that this is part of the career path for a junior cybersecurity analyst, and the button to get started is located straight here and it's free to start. You can see it's 6 hours long. It's aimed at beginners for getting into cybersecurity, and it has 7 hands-on labs, which is great, and I always recommend people to do when trying to get into cybersecurity. And it's all self-paced, meaning you don't need to complete it straight away. It's something you can do at an hour a day or even half an hour a day if that's what you need to do. Looking at the overview of what's involved, you can see there's a number of modules here, 5 in total, and after completing each one, you'll receive a cool looking badge and then finish off by a quiz and achieve the final cybersecurity badge. So what's exactly involved, and is it actually useful? Well, you have module 1, Introduction to Cybersecurity. Here you'll look at the world of cybersecurity as a generic concept, and then look at cyber attackers, cyber warfare, things like that. What does that involve? Well, what color is my hat? So that'll most likely be talking about black hats, white hats, red hats, all just to give yourself a bit of understanding. Then you'll have module 2, Attacks, Concepts and Techniques, where you'll learn to analyze cyber attacks, the methods used for infiltration, and the landscape as a whole. Just as an example, you'll look at social engineering, denial of service attacks, botnet attacks, password attacks, all things you will use in cybersecurity every single day. Module 3 will cover protecting your data privacy. So you'll talk about data maintenance, who owns data, and safeguarding that online privacy. Module 4 will then go on to protecting the organization. So you'll look at cybersecurity devices and technologies and the behavioral approach to cybersecurity. Just as an example, you'll go through firewalls, port scanning, and real-time detection. All great concepts to go through at the beginning of your journey. And then the final module, module 5, you'll look at legal and ethical issues, and then education and careers in cybersecurity. So it will show you how exactly you should go about becoming a guru in cybersecurity and the type of professional certifications you can take and what type of pathways that will lead to. All great for beginners and something I would highly recommend you do. It's only 6 hours and you gain so much knowledge out of it. And then of course finally you'll do the exam and you'll gain your certification. A very good course by Cisco that I've recommended a lot of times. We then have another course here by Simplilearn, which is an introduction into cybersecurity, and of course it's free and aimed at beginner level. You will learn the cybersecurity basics, and it's designed for people with no previous experience or access to the relevant tools that most professionals would be. So you'll learn from the beginning and gain the skills you need to get into cybersecurity. It's 3 hours of content, and you can do this at your own pace, as you'll have 90 days of access to the course, and you'll also receive a certificate upon completion. So what exactly is covered in the content? You can see here the skills you'll learn are the fundamentals, mitigation, security architecture, threat actor attacks, security policies and procedures, and wireless networks. All great skills for getting into cybersecurity. So what exactly is involved in those modules? You can see there's 5 different lessons here. So you'll have an introduction, you'll go through the fundamentals, have a look at architecture, information system governance and risk management, and then also look at incident management. Just as an example, let's look at lesson 5 here. You can see you go through digital forensics, which is very key in incident management, and you'll look at how to develop an incident management and response system. Again, very key to make sure you understand that fundamentally, as these are the type of questions you'll be asked when going for those initial interviews, when they want to check your knowledge and see what you're already familiar with. So a really good course that's free, and this is an example of the certificate that you'll receive upon completion. And then you can also see some facts here based on average salaries. I would say take this with a pinch of salt. I don't know how and what data they use when researching this. It's often just to get you to take the courses. I have looked at this course already. It is a good course, but as always, take these salaries with a pinch of salt. And you can see that the cybersecurity market is apparently expected to grow by $248 billion by 2023. In terms of career opportunities, they also lay out here what type of jobs you should be going for when you're looking into a course like this. They have security consultant, IT security engineer, and a security architect, and types of companies that are hiring for these type of roles. If you have any questions, they do have a FAQ section at the end. Next up, we have Cybrary, which is more of a training platform that allows you access to different career paths and training for those specific career paths. I think it's a great resource and you can start learning for free straight away. Just as an example of what they can provide, you can see here they've got different types of career pathways that you can jump into if you're not sure, which is probably most people at the beginning of their cybersecurity career. So you can either look at becoming a penetration tester, which they have 108 hours of content worth for, or you can look at something completely opposite and jump into becoming a network engineer. Or if you're not sure, jump around a few of them and see what you're interested in. Just as an example, let's dive into this SOC analyst. You can see what type of content they'll be looking to provide you. It's at intermediate level, and the type of roles and responsibilities that you can expect when doing something like this. If you scroll down a lot further, you can see the types of requirements that are required for the job. So SQL, TCP, IP, computer networking, Windows, Unix, firewall and intrusion detection prevention protocols, and what people typically do within this job. So it helps you gain that understanding of what's exactly involved. And then it's got a really good tool here to decide how long you'll be ready for. So if you dedicate at least 10 hours per week, you'll be certified in a month. So this is great for setting a timeline for your revision and for knowing exactly when you'll be ready. Jumping in further to the website, they've also got this great tool here for resources when it comes to preparing for a certification. So if you're looking to sit the CompTIA Security Plus, we'll just click that. It'll give you a brief outline of the exam, how many questions are involved, and loads of help for different types of things that's involved in the exam. So if you're stuck on internet content filters, you can jump here, have a look at some of the questions, and also look at the answers to help your understanding. You can go through all of these, and there's loads for different types of certifications, all to help you succeed. So this is a great resource that's free. I definitely recommend that you sign up. Coursera is a global online learning platform that offers anyone, anywhere access to courses. And you can see here we have the introduction to cyber attacks, which is free to go through all the modules. Having a look here, you can see it's rated 4.7 stars out of 2,600 reviews, and it's aimed at beginner level, so you don't need any previous experience for getting into it. And they've roughly estimated it takes around 18 hours to complete, and you can do it fully flexibly. So it's not something you need to sit within 2 weeks. You can take 6 months or you can take a month. You can completely do it at your own pace. So if you want to do it straight away and get it done out of the way, you can probably do it in a week. And you can see it's free to enroll and you can start it as soon as possible. Looking down here, you can see that the skills you'll gain are, of course, cybersecurity, information security, DOS, which is denial of service attacks, and information about risk assessments. And in terms of the actual course itself, it has 3 types of quizzes and 5 assessments, and it's available in multiple languages. Scrolling further down to look at the modules in more detail, you can see there's 4 specific modules. So you'll be looking at an introduction into cybersecurity, which has 10 videos. You'll have understanding basic security framework, which has 17 videos. And then scrolling down further, we have examining cyber threats more closely and introducing security risk analysis. You can see that there's loads of content here to be covered, all with different amounts of videos, and then it all finishes off with 2 quizzes just to tell and gauge your understanding. So you can see you'll learn some really good content here. You'll learn about brute force, threat types, purposes of cybersecurity, all great information for a beginner wanting to get into cybersecurity. So if you're interested, there is a link down in the description. I'm not sponsored by them. This is purely something that I found through my research and I've heard good reviews about. Next up, we then have Hack the Box, who are a cybersecurity upskilling platform that mainly focus on gamified labs to get you that real world experience. So this really sets them apart from the other courses that I've already mentioned or that I'm going to mention further on in the video. As I said, they focus on labs, so it gives you that real world experience that you won't really get as a beginner trying to get into cybersecurity. So it's something you can really use when talking about in interviews, that you've gained that real world experience as you've used labs in your revision or in your course certifications that you've done previously. Just having a look at what they provide. As of course with this video, they are free. They do have subscription paid for models. However, it is free to initially get started, and you can then pay later on down the line for the more experienced labs that are more challenging. Having a look at what they give here, they have over 450 hacking labs that you can go through and you can start learning straight away. It's entirely browser based, so you don't need to do anything else, and they have guided courses for every skill level. So whether you're a beginner, you're intermediate, or you're an expert, they have everything for you at all of those levels, so you don't need to worry. If you're a beginner that's quite scared initially, thinking it might be too difficult, they'll guide you all along the way. And you can practice on live targets which are based on real world scenarios, which I think is the most important point of all. It's the best way to gaining that real world experience. You can choose between different courses covering offensive, defensive, and just general cybersecurity fundamentals. And start this straight away. I definitely recommend signing up. They have all sorts of great content on here. You can see they have a hacking glossary where you can scroll through so many definitions, either make notes or just try to learn some of them, depending on what you're trying to get into. And also something that they have that I've never really seen on any other upskilling platform is a cybersecurity jobs board, where you can apply straight away or see different roles in cybersecurity. I'm not too sure if this is just US based or they're also looking outside of the US, but from what it looks like, it is just entirely US based. So if you're in the US, this is a great tool and something you should definitely use and look into, especially if you're trying to get into the field for the first time. Next up, we then have the SANS Cyber Academy, and this was brought about because of the cybersecurity labour gap that was existing. It's essentially a pathway to a cybersecurity training scholarship, and if you visit the link that I've provided, you can see here that they describe the open applications at the moment, which are Mission 43 and the Women in Cybersecurity Training Scholarship. And you can also then see which type of pathways are normally available, as some of them might be closed at the moment and opening later on within the year. Scrolling further down, we can see a diversity pathway and then also a workforce development pathway. So this depends exactly what you're looking for and what type of person you are, depending on what pathway you can go for. So just as an example, looking here at the Veterans Cyber Academy, we can see exactly how the program works, when they look to accept new applicants, what the eligibility requirements are, and exactly what's involved in the curriculum. So what exams you'll be taking and when you'll be taking them. And GIAC exams are really reputable exams in the community. So it's highly recommended to go for something like this because you'll come out being someone who's highly requested amongst employers. However, obviously that comes with being difficult to get into, especially with it being a scholarship. These exams can cost around $9,000 to $10,000 to sit the course and the exam without a scholarship. So you can see the step-by-step information and the roadmap and the time commitment that's involved when going for something like this. So as I said, this is a scholarship, so it's essentially free if you get accepted. I recommend visiting the link and viewing which pathway is suitable for you if you meet the requirements. Next up on the list is a course by EC Council, a well-known company within the cybersecurity space. You can see they have another cybersecurity course here for beginners, looking at people who have not really got experience before in the field, just like the other courses on my list, and it allows you to gain that fundamental knowledge and skills ready to start your job in cybersecurity. So just scrolling down on what they provide here, they'll tell you shortly why you should be doing a course like this and why you should choose this series of a course. They'll slightly go through an overview and tell you how many modules you should expect for the whole series, or how much type of content there is, that there's hands-on labs, and you'll gain a certificate of achievement. So it tells you what's involved. So you'll have ethical hacking essentials, digital forensics essentials, and networking defense essentials. Then we have a breakdown here of what's involved in each one. So for ethical hacking essentials, you can see there's 12 specific modules and 15 hours of premium content with 11 labs. And that goes through, of course, the fundamentals, password cracking, social engineering, exactly what you'd expect for ethical hacking. And then they give you an example of some of the tools you'll look to learn. So you'll be using things like SQL injection detection tool, you'll be looking at Netcraft, web app security scanners, all great things for someone getting into it at the beginning. And then you can enroll and get started for complete free. And the type of job roles you'd expect after this are things like help desk technician, system specialist, cybersecurity specialist, all the ones that you should be looking at. Then looking at the network defense essentials course, you can see it has 12 learning modules with 14 hours of content again and 11 hands-on labs, which is an optional add-on. That's not something that's included, you have to add that on. Make sure you're aware of that before you think of going for it. In terms of course modules, you've of course got the fundamentals of networking. You've then got administrative controls, physical controls, and technical controls. You'll also look at wireless network security, IoT device security, cryptography, and PKI, all fundamentals that you should know. And you can again get started for free, and the type of roles you should be going for after this are network security analyst, a network technician, etc., etc. Then finally, we have the digital forensics essentials. So this was designed to help gain the foundations for digital forensics. You'll have 12 learning modules, 11 hours of content with the optional add-on of 11 lab activities again. And what you'll go through here for the course modules are of course the forensic fundamentals. You'll have defeating anti-forensic techniques. You'll have Windows forensics, Linux and Mac forensics, and also investigating email crime. I've just picked some of them out there, but they're all great. You can see there's 12 different ones, and the tools you'll learn to use are things like Linux, Windows, Wireshark, Splunk, Tor browser, all great tools used within ethical hacking. And you can get started for free again, and the type of roles are cybersecurity technician, intelligence operations specialist, and IT security specialist. All great roles that you should definitely be going for if you're doing something like this. So how exactly do you earn the certifications? Well, the series is made to be an exam length of 2 hours, and it's a multiple choice exam, and you'll have 75 questions. And of course, it's all course specific depending on what certification you go for. So as we've just been through, there's 3 different ones. And of course, they say to focus on the one that will help you achieve the career that you want to go for. So if you're more focused on networking, you'll obviously go for the networking series. If you're more focused on digital forensic, then you'll want to go down that area. If you're not sure, take all 3 and see what interests you the most. But a great course for beginners, and it's all free. I hope by now you found some of these really interesting and you've saved the links, and if you have, please do leave a like on the video. It massively helps the channel out, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as I've got some great content coming over the next few weeks.